Go tell Aunt Rhody. Go tell Aunt Rhody. Go tell Aunt Rhody that everybody's dead.
Welcome to episode 5 of the Dangerous ASMR podcast. I am Steven, and of course I am accompanied by my co-host Boggle.
Hello.
And today's special guest, Ike Moore.
Hello.
Today we will be talking to Ike about his Patreon exclusive audios, as well as reviewing these week's new episodes. And for the 5 of you who watch this show regularly, we're going to push back the Yandere Dolly episode to a later date because that series is dead and no one cares about it. So we will treat it like the dead corpse it is. Anyways, on to the show.
Jesus.
So how are you guys doing today?
Doing well.
How's your
happy to be here.
thank you for coming. This is all Boggle's doing. I never even thought to ask you to come on.
You were like Ike Moore. Fuck no, get him on. I ain't talking to him.
Because I think she's the one who convinced you to come on the Discord, right?
Yeah. I know nothing about the Discord. I am so slow with technology. It's insane.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they say I'm the server's official recruiter, I suppose, and mostly it's because I loved Ike's stuff so much that I really wanted to talk to him, and this seemed like the best way to do it. So I was like, hey, I know you may not think you're technically apt, and I do agree that Discord is quite annoying to try to learn how to use, but join anyways, and I'll do my best to walk you through. And he joined, I got him to join, and we were talking, and I was like, hey, podcast exists, and the rest is history. And I was like, yes. So yes, it's my fault we're all here like this tonight, but I don't regret it because I'm excited.
And I'm just warning you guys, today's gonna definitely be a Patreon Chillin episode because all of Ike's audios are Patreon exclusive.
That's
we'll
right. You got paid to hear my shit.
Yeah.
It's so good that normal ears aren't allowed to listen. So if you want in, you gotta join our Patreon.
We'll try to keep them as spoiler. We're not going to go over every single one of his audios in great detail, but we probably will be spoilers just because a lot of the premises you can't really talk about unless you explain what's going on. And hey, we actually did talk about one of his audios a few episodes ago. We talked about the super evil / odd couple, which is one of the many superhero audios that Dangerous has. So expect to see more of those types of parody ASMRs. All right, before we start, like always, we need to help Dangerous get as much money as possible. So now is the time that I will tell you where you can find Dangerous and all Dangerous-related media. All these links will be linked below, so you don't need to ask us. I actually do, because comments help us do better with the YouTube algorithm.
Just spam us with comments.
Yeah, don't just tell us the show sucks. We don't care. Dislikes help us too. First, we got her Twitter. She doesn't really use the Twitter that often, and she mainly uses it to promote new videos that are coming out, but occasionally she'll have some funny commentary and targeted ads that she gets. Of course, there's the Discord, where all the Dangerous fans could come and meet and be cringy together, and this is where we all met and became friends. And without the Discord, there wouldn't be this podcast. So if you don't like this podcast, blame the Discord. Then we got the awesome Patreon, which is the only place you're able to listen to Ike's audios. Like he says, if you want to listen to his shit, you gotta pay for the shit. Not only that, though, there's plenty of not safe for work audios. And by not safe for work, I mean you gotta be 18. If you want to be naughty, you can't be a little babby. And finally, if you want to throw even more money at Dangerous, she has merch at Redbubble. This includes shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, and knives. Let's start with my favorite Dangerous ASMR series. Jekyll and Hyde, episode 16. Boggle, do you want to start us off?
Oh boy, why am I starting off? Oh, I know why. It's because I have the least amount of things to say. Because it sounds like these two guys have some words, so I will try to keep mine brief so that they can go off because I'm excited. But I also quite enjoy this series. I really like the characters and the story, and part 16 was quite interesting. because I mean, for all you listening, currently we have Angela, who's also Lola, then we have the listener, then we have Deborah. And for me to see Deborah back at all was kind of surprising, because I feel like usually in stories of this type, the character that Deborah usually is often pushed to the side after Act 1 is over. So to see her back and developing was really cool. And to see okay, again, more Patreon pimping. If you join the Patreon, you'll see the not safe for work edition of this part, and you will absolutely see just how ferocious Deborah can get. And I freaking loved it. I thought it was hysterical. But of course, even if you don't have the Patreon, just the normal version will suffice if you want to realize not just how vicious Deborah is in the sense of her personality and the way she carries herself, but in how conniving she is. Because although I feel like this is a bit of a foregone conclusion, she has ulterior motives. And while I know this annoys a lot of people because she is still very much an antagonist, I actually was kind of laughing with delight. To me, this is one of the characters that you love to hate kind of thing. So I enjoyed the episode, and this will be the last note of positivity as Ike and Steven take over and rip into it and go crazy with everything they hated.
I mean,
no, I'm just kidding. They didn't actually hate it. They just they're better critics than I am. I'm too nice. They can discuss their own points of views, their own opinions, what they thought was good, what could have been better. So I shall turn it over to them now.
Yeah, it's not the end of positivity. I still like I'll just go ahead and say there are I did like this episode overall. It's the ending that kind of saved I mean I'll get into this more later because I don't want to I want Ike to get his thoughts into but yeah, just kind of the ending to me saved what I was fearing. And so I'm kind of happy, but now I have more fear because I'm worried for poor little Angela, and I just I feel for her so much. But you can go ahead first, and I'll jump in when you're finished.
Okay, so first of all, let me just say, just like a lot of you all, I enjoy the hell out of this series. I think Todd C. is an amazing writer. I feel like the story that's been told has just been amazing. But when it comes to this particular new episode, I can't speak for you guys, but the minute first of all, I have never wanted to be a listener so bad, because the minute the listener wakes up and he sees both of his fiancés with him, I'm in heaven.
Mood, same dude, same. I feel.
Man, I thought he probably thought he had died and went to heaven. Man, he probably just was feeling it. But I'm telling you right now, the minute as the audio was going and they just all like Angela and Deborah just being all like, oh, I shouldn't have been an enemy to you. I'm sorry, and this and that. I could see that turn coming from the sky, aiming right toward me. I knew exactly what was going to happen. And when that ending showed up, I was like, I knew it. God damn it. Deborah is going to get her ass kicked.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what we're all looking forward to in part 17.
Yeah. Yeah, to kind of I feel like I kind of just needed to get this out there, just because I swear this comes from passion and love from this series. It's not me trying to be a dick or rain on things people like, but I have been getting kind of worried about the series as of late. I just lately I've just kind of realized that a lot of things are forced, and that's just mainly because the writer Todd's a friend, and I think he's a really good idea. I think he's a really good writer. It's just I feel like with this series that every time he has an idea, he just instantly puts it in the story. Now that I kind of see where the story's going, my worries have been lessened a little bit. But kind of looking back at the story, there's been a lot of points where the series has kind of just slowed down, just because it had oh hey, let's make an episode about this. And the lavish triangle, which I thought it was going to fully go on to a full-on triangle, just that's it. There is no what happens at the end of the last episode. I just kind of was like, what is this? I'm really interested in this whole Lola's finally giving Angela back control thing, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is leading to them hopefully coming together. But then it kind of just seemed like we were putting the story on hold a bit for fan service. And I was like, well, what the heck? I'm liking the Lola acknowledging her mistakes and giving Angela control to hopefully help. I just feel like Debbie kind of slowed down the story a bit, And there was another thing too in this episode. This is a spoiler, but it kind of ruined something about Lola for me. I always looked at Lola as like a one of kind beauty. Like there is just like nothing like her, to the point to where just this statue that's been referenced multiple times is just an example of just like a godly amount of beauty that can only be obtained by like this form of science. So the fact that it's been kind of revealed that like, oh, Debbie was the model, and Debbie can not only was Debbie the model, but she can pass for Lola. It's like, what the heck? Like I kind of thought like I said, I thought Lola was like gonna be like one of a kind, like just super woman. Like her superpowers are beauty, but now it's just like, oh no, just Debbie looks like her too. In fact, Debbie was the inspiration for Lola. But the thing is, I trust Todd. I know he's a good writer. I still love the story. And I can't just tell if I'm just getting burned out, or just like I feel like the wedding was like the perfect ending, or I'm honestly just getting worried that the ending that I'm hoping for doesn't come to fruition. But like I said, with how last episode ended, I have hope again. I'm just worried that there just might be a point where I just turn on the series, and that really scares me. And in all honesty, in the end, I kind of like the Don Bluth philosophy of you can fuck with the main characters as much as possible, but you just give them a happy ending. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen American Tail with Fievel. He goes through so much shit, but he finds his family in the end, so everything's okay. So I just want Angela and the husband to be together and be happy. That's all I want. Oh, any more
That's
comments?
way too much to ask from somebody as sadistic as Todd. You know it's not going to be that easy.
Oh my god.
And also, I think, like, I actually agree with what Steven said. We've definitely put the Lola story on hold. But I'm assuming it's because what Todd's trying to do is build, like, an entire saga with overlapping plot lines. And because he is trying to bring in so many characters, of course, that, you know, with an audio like it's sort of like even TV shows, I feel like, do this, where you'll be watching one scene with one character and then they'll find some excuse to jump to another story arc in the same episode, and there's always that kind of whiplash. Or even books that do that, where like chapter 1 will be told from the perspective of this character, then chapter 2 is told from the perspective of that character, and it is kind of jarring, especially if you get attached to this one storyline. It's like, wait, why are we going into this plot line right now? Excuse you. So I sort of understand that aspect, and I think that's probably why, is because what Todd is doing is so big that, like, unfortunately, yeah, there's going to be this moment where, like, it jumps back and forth between however many plot lines he has. And I think right now it's just 2, but it might, you know, depending on what happens, he'll either try to bring it back together soon, or, like, there is a possibility for it to go to 3. I hope not, because that probably would be overwhelming. And also, I think, for another point Steven made about it feeling kind of like any ideas he gets, he throws in, I think it's because at this point he's basically writing each episode fresh. Like, maybe once upon a time in the beginning he knew what he wanted to do, but the series has gone on for so long that at this point, I'm not saying he's just making it up as he's going along, because he still has ideas, and I've talked to him before, but this sense of, like, yeah, it's a mix of throwing in new ideas whenever he sees fit and made up as it goes along. I think that is partially because that's how a lot of people write for Dangerous, where it's like, oh, okay, so you got part 1 and you have a vague idea of part 2, but because you might not even expect to see another part, you're not quite sure where to go, or just things arise, and there isn't a component of making this up as you go along. That's not to say Todd has no plans, because he does, but that sense of, like, oh, hey, you know, because he's been working on the story so long, he keeps going back and basically editing things in retrospect. So it was like Steven said, this thing that feels kind of forced or out of nowhere, in his mind probably fits because he sees the full picture as the author, but to us it's like, where did this come from? Because I will say, I think that probably the one of the more quote unquote controversial moments of the series so far was the return of Deborah, not as well, at least not at first, not as an enemy, but as a friend and a lover, and the reveal that she is basically a bisexual playgirl. I was very stunned. I think that was part 15, so just the last one. I was also very stunned by that seemingly out of left field twist. Like, it was done more to shock the audience than to actually make sense, so to speak. And I see the frustrations for that episode, because, like, yeah, where did this come from? It did feel like it was something Todd wanted to try, so he was just like, okay, let's go right now, let's go. But again, that's almost the pro of being able to write as you go, is that and Steven also said this, what does not make sense now may make sense in the future if we just trust Todd that he knows what he's doing, and as more parts are released, the things that seem very jarring and out of nowhere in the past will suddenly be like, oh, okay, that kind of makes retroactive sense. I know that's not always the best way to write stories, but I think that's kind of what's been going on. And again, if we just, because like Steven said, I do have faith in Todd to see this through, so I'm not too concerned by any of these issues, though I do understand where the critiques are coming from.
Oh yeah, I was surprised, like all you guys, to see Deborah not only come back but sort of almost become romantically involved. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
We all thought she was gonna kick down the door and just
Right,
go straight
I'm
for the
expecting
throat. Instead, she comes in, slides into the hot tub like, "Hey, Angela." It's like, whoa, what?
I'm expecting like a Speed 2 fight coming up, man. But
Same. Not a freaking seduction scene.
Yeah, just yes. Can you wipe off my scars? I'm like, the fuck is going on? Listen, I trust Todd just like all of us do. I'm not ready to give up on the series because like I said, I understand sort of the hesitations, but I feel like what's coming is to me, I don't see how else you write it other than both Angela and Lola joining together and taking her down, and sort of Angela having that happy ending. Because even Lola is starting to figure out that she herself, even though she claims to be more confident and she claims to be this better version, she still has some insecurities too as well, I feel like. So it's like I feel like I can sense a more companionship coming between the both of them. And like I said earlier, Deb's gonna get that ass whooped, and I'm ready for it.
You're not in the good way either.
I really hope next episode begins with Deb coming in. She's like, haha, my plan. And then just Lola's there, and she's like, what's up, bitch? We knew you were going to fuck us over. And then just they fight from there. That might be wishful thinking.
That's basically how we all thought part 15 was going to start. Instead, we just got it pushed back 2 episodes, and I'm like, okay, there we go. Finally, someone's getting decked.
All right. That'll conclude our review of episode 16. Todd, we trust you.
Yeah, none of us have given up on your series. Don't worry, man.
Yeah, listen, I couldn't dream of writing that. I'd probably have fart jokes every 5 minutes. So don't take what I'm saying as me saying I can write better than you. Oh no, you don't. No, you.
Nails and Gale crossover with Jekyll and Hyde. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, Nails just shooting the fuck at Deborah.
She kicks down the door in the middle of the seduction scene, slaps Angela for being stupid, then drags Deb out by the hair and is like, "Okay, we're doing this. We're fixing this right now."
Yeah, Nails just comes in and shoots Deb in the skull.
Yep. The end.
And she's like, "There, happy ending," and then just credits. So moving on to a big surprise, especially for me. should I tell them, Boggle, or should I just wait until?
Yes.
I should tell them. Okay. So, once again, since this is the Patreon Chillin episode, I had finally wrote a script for Dangerous, and I sent it in for my custom. And basically, I'm using my custom as like, hey, I wrote a script. Can you please do it? And can you please share it for everybody? Because I just wrote. I was just excited to write a script. I've been wanting to write her for not years. That's ridiculous. For months. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm gonna be the first person to have like an orc related script. And then FN, 2 weeks after I praised the crap out of a series, beat me to it, and we got an orc. We got an orc in the Dangerous verse now. I was really salty about it for 30 minutes, and then I got over it because I was like, okay, well, like. My script's probably not even that good, and 2, what am I getting salty for? Everybody can like make whatever they want, and if Danger does it, then of course it's going to be good because Danger is awesome. And yeah, I actually did really enjoy it too. What about you guys?
Oh well, first of all, you said the author's name is FN.
Yeah.
See, so when I saw it, I thought it said NF, and I'm like, oh dang, the Christian rapper wrote a Yandere? Shit. I'm like, this is gonna be awesome, man. But this is what I want to ask, and since Steve, you the movie guy here, what's with this obsession with orcs recently?
I don't know. I thought I was
Because I
alone
know
in
Will
this.
Smith. Will Smith did a movie with an orc called Bright, where they were like
Yeah.
considered like a minority. And then
The,
just a few months ago, Pixar did the whole Onward, and they're all
oh
orcs, I
yeah.
believe.
And then
So
Warcraft
it's like a
too.
renaissance of it's like what Twilight did to vampires, man. It's like a resurgence of the orcs.
Yeah, I don't know if it's connected to Onward. I think it was just something that just happened just out of nowhere. Like I personally started gaining my love for specifically half orcs because orcs are generally very bad people in the tabletop games I play. But yeah, I just played an orc and I was just like, wow, I really I like as much as I like small women, like small short women.
Thank you.
I also like tall muscular women. Um and so I just thought it was kind of hot. And then I liked my character, so that kind of got me into liking orcs. But I think we just have a lot of bottoms that just really enjoy
I mean,
being
are
dominated
you
by.
really surprised because of who Dangerous is that a good chunk of the fandom are a bunch of subs and bottoms?
Yeah. Um. So I just think it
I
was the
mean, it
next natural
began.
step.
Oh, go ahead.
I just think it was the next natural step of just having this like exotic, big, muscular type women like becoming like a big thing among like the fandom.
Yeah, all it starts hell. We're 1 minute in, and she already what sounded like she suplexed the listener for it's like 1 minute in. I was waiting for someone in the background being like, "My leg!" I was like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Yeah, I've been wanting like more like audios of fighting. Going back to Patreon again. Ooh, there's a not safe for work one of Amazon's, and that one has like them wrestling in it. I won't say what the end result of the wrestling matches are, because this is a PG-13 podcast. But yeah, just I like having an audio now that has like like boxing in it basically. I really like this one. I liked how deep like Dangerous got her voice. Like it was almost like shit, man. I forgot how much range you have. Every video I listen to, I'm like, holy shit, your range. And I really like the character. And not that many people actually do orcs. Funnily enough, for how popular they've been getting. Like the only one I know of is Variana. And while this one was kind of light on Yandere material, for like what I thought it was gonna be, I really did enjoy this audio. I found it very sexy, honestly.
For a guy who likes cuddles, you certainly like fights too, don't you?
I mean, my perfect my perfect night would be me and my girlfriend box with each other, and then we enjoy a nice cuddle after that.
Goals. Yeah, basically to kind of reiterate what Ike and Steven said, I also enjoyed because one, I was laughing when I saw orc because it's true. I've noticed also that resurgence of orcs, and I feel like D&D in general. So when I saw this orc audio, I was like, I feel like it was kind of one of those only a matter of time things. I just wasn't expecting today to be that day. So just the title alone kind of made me laugh. I'm like, okay, we're doing orcs too. Let's go. But that's what
Yeah.
I enjoyed. And I think somebody in the Patreon comments even said something similar that what was enjoyable and unique about this audio is that even though we're told this character will become a yandere, it wasn't like right out the gate she's obsessed with you. Instead, it was more of a fight. You guys were enemies at first. You're on her territory, and she basically says, "All right, I'm taking you back to my place unless you can beat me in a fight." And then obviously you lose very miserably. But I liked the fact that she gave you a fighting chance, and that you eventually took it even if again it was a foregone conclusion we'd lose. That was to me it was unique because one, we don't usually see fighting ASMR for obvious reasons, and then another, the fact that it wasn't the cliche, oh hey human, I love you and I gotta take care of you, let's go. It was more like a get off my property. And she, like I said, basically suplexed you multiple times. In fact, it's like, okay, I win, let's go. It's like, this is definitely an interesting start.
Um,
Oh
I,
yeah, and
I also,
Dangerous's orc voice was kind of funny. I'm like, you could tell
Yeah, it
she's
was
trying so
like
hard to get it low, and I'm like, yep.
it. It was 1 decibel away from being a Batman voice. I swear to God.
Batman
Like, where are
roleplay
you
went.
going? Swear to me.
Swear to me. Hey, actually, I sent Steven a joke earlier, speaking of Batman. The fact that, again, this character does ask you to fight. There's a point where she literally, just to kind of, I don't know if it was to test you or rub in the fact that you're much weaker, but she literally says, she puts her hand behind her back and says, hit me as hard as you can. Come on, go at it. And I sent Steven that line from Batman when the Joker's like, "Come on, hit me! You know you want to hit me." And I'm like, that's basically what I was. That's all I could think of for like the minute where she was just taunting you and punching her. And of course, we can't really tell how hard the listener was going at it, but obviously it wasn't enough to do much more than amuse her. But yeah.
Funny, something I just realized, going back to how I'm like apparently Mr. Cuddles when it comes to like what I want in ASMRs. I really like I really like I really like the moments in her audios where you run away and then her Yandere just catches you and tackles you. Like Kiara did that.
I laughed my ass off whenever that happens. It was like she was like, "Hey, fight me," and he was like, "Nope."
Ran away. The sudden footsteps running away. I laughed too. I was like, I mean, I had a feeling this guy wasn't gonna try to fight, but just that moment of silence before the sudden feet skittering, I was like, smart move.
Yo,
We knew it wouldn't work, but God, I was laughing.
If that had cut off right then, that would have been the best ASMR audio I've ever heard in my life.
That would have been something you would have done.
I was about to say that. Yeah, that's like one you would do.
That just might have given me an idea.
Your next
Yandere
parody
orc
audio.
alternate ending.
Right, alternate ending.
Because I was gonna say, I remember thinking, I'm like, okay, so this character's canonically a hunter. How good at climbing? Because would it be possible to try to like climb, not necessarily out climb the orc in case she knows how to climb too, but just instead of just running on the ground, see if you can get somewhere higher up. Because I was thinking, like, again, foregone conclusion you'd be captured, but I remember thinking strategically as I was laughing my head off. Okay, so now you're running away from her. How are you going to stay away? Is there any tree or something you can climb up really fast? But that was hysterical. That just like unintentional comedy of the sudden footsteps running away. Oh, yeah, but like Steven said, he has a thing for women chasing after him. So I hope this gave him his fix.
Yeah, so it's Kilala, it's Nana, so I don't know why I'm throwing names out there like everybody knows all their names. There's so many people that call the Yandere werewolf like Tsundere Yandere werewolf when her name is clearly Alpha. I'm just saying. That will get over, I promise. That's the whole purpose of this podcast.
The ultimate goal of this is not to talk about Dangerous, but it's Steven's way of trying to canonize the name Alpha.
It's catching on. I see it. But yeah, I have a thing for crazy women chasing after me and successfully grappling me to the ground, I guess. Like,
all right, let me get my running shoes. I'll be right over.
The Fox Goddess did that to you, the Yandere werewolf, the actual Yandere werewolf did that to you, and now we got this orc. So welcome to the family, orc. I hope to see more of you. Maybe if my orc audio ever comes out, me and FN can team up and we can have our two orcs face off.
Right, and NF do the soundtrack. There you go.
Yes, FN, NF, and Steven.
All right, you guys have any more final thoughts?
Yeah, I love like it so far. Hopefully, I don't know how long it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's just going to be a 2-part or anything, but I'd say it made a good first impression.
All right, well, now is the time to talk about the man of the hour, he just had an audio come out this Wednesday, but you don't know because you're not on Patreon, unless you are on Patreon, and I'm being smug for absolutely no reason. So, Mr. Ike Moore, what got you to want to create these types of... Actually, you wrote the questions, Boggle. Do you want to ask them?
Oh, sure. Well, the questions, admittedly, are more just a template, because I was going to say, first, I kind of want to know, like, how Ike even came to this fandom. Like, how did you find Dangerous, and, like, how and when did you start writing for her, and what just inspired you in general to, like, do all this? You know, how did you find her and such?
Oh, man. So I think I would say the end of 2017, I went on like a huge, I don't know where it came from. I went on a huge ASMR binge. I had never heard about them before. It's just I saw one video of it on YouTube, and you know how YouTube is. You see one video, then you got to see another one, then another one, then another one. By the time I saw Danger, later on in 2018, I had watched a whole lot of ASMRs. It was like I'd never seen nothing like them before. And besides ASMRs, besides the basic ones about, you know, tapping on surfaces or whatever, I became really attached to the role plays, and more specifically the Yanderes. Apparently the Yandere is the most popular genre in it, really. So I saw a lot of Yanderes. I heard a lot of Yandere's, and me being sort of the guy I am, I always like to sort of make smart ass remarks in the like the pauses and shit, just to fuck with them, even though I know they can't hear me or whatever. So, so late 2018, I believe I saw a title that said "Kidnapped by a Love Crazed Yandere," and I think that was her first video ever. And I'm not just saying that because of the podcast. I promise y'all on everything. Within the first 5 seconds of that, when she's like humming, I was already hooked. I loved it. And like ever since then, I think I was, not to toot my own horn, but I think I came on to her like around the first month and a half she was on. So it was like, I'm like one of the first, I feel like I'm like one of the first fans in a way, because I was kind of there since the beginning. So ever since then, you know, just been a supporter. I think I was also one of her first Patreons and everything. So it really started from there.
Awesome. So then, was it some of that sass that inspired you to write these parody audios, just to see what would happen in a crazy alternate universe?
Well, the parodies came from, well, it was because it came to a point where I heard that she would like scripts to be sent to her. And then so when I heard that, I said, well, what could I write really? So it wasn't my intention to do the parodies. It just sort of happened. So this is gonna be some crazy trivia I give y'all. So I remember, I think it was December of 2018. I said, I'm gonna write her some audios or whatever. I wrote 2 scripts in one email, and I sent it in one email. Do you guys know which two I wrote?
I'm guessing it was the first 2, which is the escaping the Yandere parody one, and the quotation marks carrying girlfriends.
Okay, so you're half right. One of them were the Yandere parody, but the second one was the superhero one. I'd actually sent both of those scripts to her then, but I guess, you know, Danger's a busy person, so I didn't. So really, y'all didn't really hear the Yandere parody until April of 2019, and then the superhero parody came way later, like a few months later. But really, the parodies were, I originally was just going to do a parody of the Yandere because I love the character the most. So I just said, you know, what wouldn't it be funny if the listener had just become so like gross to her that she just like let her go or whatever. So that's where that came from. And then the superhero parody, I don't think you call it parody. The superhero audio, that came from more of just a simple idea. What if the superhero was sleeping with his supervillain but didn't know it? And then I just added the comedy on top of that. So
is the reason why you keep going back to like the I guess she's just the Yandere kidnapper. I don't know, or Annie Wilkes technically is the name that you was that. Well, let me try to compose my thoughts first of all. Was that your joke calling her Annie Wilkes because of Misery?
That joke, man, I don't know where that came from. Just me just throwing out shit. That I don't think I was ever really serious. I don't think I said, "Oh, that's gonna be her name." It just came from a joke of her. Well, we've never really heard her say what her name was, and then I just figured, well, she did hold somebody hostage, so I guess she is kind of like an Annie Wilkes. So that kind of worked. And then you fast forward to this current one I did. Her name's Bottom Bitch. So it kind of just. So we never really. I love the idea of we never really know her name, and it just so happened her name becomes whatever, like the story or whatever situation she's in.
Is the reason you keep going back to her in your parodies is because you were like that was the first character you saw from Dangerous?
Yeah, it's like it's the character that brought me in. It's also, I think I don't want to speak for everybody, but I feel like that's one of her most popular ones. I feel like a lot of people love that character, and really, she's fun to not only is she fun to listen to. When you write a script involving her, she's fun to write for because she's like almost real crazy and creepy. And it also goes to what Dangerous has done. Danger does a great job of just making her just as like the most creepiest person ever. Because I've heard a lot of Yandere's, but but hers is the only one where I genuinely feel like I genuinely look behind me just to make sure she's not behind me or whatever.
Boggle, what would you say is your favorite parody that he's written? Let's just put you on the spot, and you have to pick your favorite out of all of them.
Parody, not the other show we're going to talk about. Parody.
Yeah. Okay.
Specifically.
Hang on. I'm trying to.
To
Favorite
buy Boggle
parody.
some time, I re-listened and listened to them today. I didn't. There's quite a few I didn't listen to. Like I never listened to your first one, which I just thought was fucking hilarious. Just the progression of her being like, okay, this is gross. I'm not in this anymore. But I think my favorite will be the 22 subscriber special.
Oh yeah, probably that one. That one was the funny. Okay, that one's right there.
That had me in stitches.
Yes.
Yeah, and that goes into kind of like the whole. We'll get into Nails and Gale in a minute, but the weird thing about that one in particular, I remember I had done so many parodies for her, and it got to a point. I think it was June of last year. I had wrote for her the. I don't know if you guys remember. I did calming the Yandere, where the Yandere goes to a therapist.
Yeah,
that was my second favorite one. I was gonna pick that one until Steven said the Dangerous ASMR's Crazy Amazing Sexy Turned Out 22K celebration sponsored by cocaine. That one's my favorite. The calming the love crazy Yandere girl was my second favorite.
Yeah, and that one I think is my favorite because that was just I had so much fun writing that. I think that was one of the only times I just said, look, let it go. Just write whatever comes to mind or whatever. And then right, but after that, I found myself getting into. I know a lot of writers feel this way. After a while, you get kind of writer's block, and it also didn't help that personal-wise, a lot of stuff was going on. So I wasn't really in a creative spot to like write anything. So I messaged Danger, and I was like, "Oh, I know," because at that point, I think I was sending her stuff every 2 weeks or so, just as far as the parodies, because the parodies in a way are also easier to write because all you're doing is just like making, because there's like no story in it at all. You're just throwing joke after joke after joke out. So it got to a point where I was like, I messaged her. I'm like, I know I can't. I'm kind of running out of ideas here. And she's all like, oh well, I'm sure you'll think of something, And so a month later, she messages me saying, hey, I have an idea. I just made 20, at the time it was 20, I think it was 21K subscribers. So I just made 21K subscribers. I was thinking about doing an audio where it's a comedy and we're doing a celebration, but it's really nothing really to celebrate because it's not as big as 1 million. And then the minute she said that, I'm like, oh shit, I got a whole lot of ideas. So I did the whole, like, I love writing it because it was like a whole celebration gone wrong. So like no surprise guest word, her mom being so like disgusted with the whole thing, the whole again parodying the Yandere, sort of making it seem like Danger herself is a Yandere. That's why she plays the part well. And then what came from there, and this goes back to the writing process, what came from that, I remember I was almost done writing. I'm like, I need like one last joke. Oh, what if we did something where Danger called her very first subscriber, and the very first subscriber is someone who probably just forgot she subscribed to her and is just unimpressed about everything. So I came up with it was originally going to be I think like a nerd at first, but then I was like, that's kind of typical. And then I was going to write almost like a surfer chick, like, hey, what's up, bro? And but then I was like, what'd be real funny if it was just like the most ghettoest ratchet like woman, and then like it's so much so she's so disinterested that she actually thinks it's called Dangerous Ass instead of Dangerous ASMR. And then I was like, oh, well, what's her name? And then I was just like, just Nails, and then just spelled it with a Z at the end. And then I had just written it, and it was just a joke. I wasn't trying to make a new character or nothing, new story or whatever. So I write the script, send it over to Danger. I get the audio. First of all, the whole audio, the way she did it was amazing. When we get to the Nails part and I hear Danger's interpretation of Nails, it's like that set off something in my brain. I loved the way she did the voice, the way it was like almost better than I had ever pictured it. to the point where if you go back to the Patreon comments, I write, hey, thumbs up if you want to see a Nails spinoff. And it got like a whole lot of upvotes. So
Best origin story ever.
yeah, that's what it is. And it was really, and even then it wasn't going to be a series. I just said, well, let me do another audio with her. And then so I started writing that audio, and I had told Boggle this off mic. Originally, the first Nails audio was going to be written as a role play. So like you, the viewer, she moves into your house, the viewer. But as I was writing it and I was writing her jokes, I was like, these jokes are funny, but she doesn't really have anyone to bounce them off of. It pretty much goes into silence. So like how I would best describe it is, remember the first Nails and Gale audio and just take out all of Gale's lines and just have Nails lines with a bunch of silence. It doesn't quite work that way. So that's when I was like, I need to write another character. And it wasn't intentional to have the names rhyme, Nails and Gale. It was just Gale was the first one I had thought of, and then that's how the first audio came in.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect segue to just go into the Nails and Gale series right now. I mean, you did kind of explain us like the origin of like where you got it from, but like, is there anything else like you want us to know like about like you want to tell us like about like the lore of the series or anything like that?
Well, it comes from a few things. One, first of all, a side note, I know I'm a guy, but I always liked the idea. I always wanted to write a story with like strong women characters, like strong women that have like both or in different places of their lives, but are very strong-minded in both of them. And it was also, if you listen to the series, you can sort of see a few influences from a few shows. One being actually 2.5 Men, and the other being 2 Broke Girls. I feel like if you watch those shows and listen to mine, they're like almost totally like similar to like the tones and everything. So it's like a whole lot of influences. And Nails, like the character of Nails, I consider her. It's basically my excuse to do my version of Deadpool in a way, but because you got the reference, you got her references, and then you got her like throwing like flailing guns around and everything like that. But really, her character is like just based off of every smart aleck character I've ever loved, really growing up. And I just put it all in that character.
Yeah, I was really enjoying listening to it on this like re-listen because I listened just like the first 2. And then like I just never I get very bad at like listening to audio sometimes. I'll just be like, oh, I'll listen to it later. I've been trying to make it a running joke that I have yet to see the Rune Mistress audio, and just I'm not gonna watch it till there's like 3 episodes. So I'm like, okay, I have to watch this now. But yeah, rewatching this, like I liked how you, as they went on, you had like a good balance of like just absurd humor, but also like kind of some sweet stuff. Like you can tell like these are like very good friends and stuff like that. And then you get to the 4th episode where like you kind of like get like more backstory of like Nails, and it's just like, wow, it was kind of a bummer actually.
Yeah, that's why I never heard it described as that bummer. Damn, dude.
Yeah, fucking Deborah broke up with her. That's my first instinct when I heard Alice. I was like, wait a minute, that's the Deborah voice. I hate the character.
Oh my god, so we already did have a crossover, Deborah's Alice.
You want to know something?
To cover up her association with Nails, is like, no, my name's Deborah.
It was funny because I had written, because in the script I wrote do a British accent, not even knowing she already does one in another series. So when I heard it back, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, people are gonna think this is freaking Todd C's gonna sue me or some shit.
Well, I mean, hey, you already, in one of your more recent parodies that was also a Nails and Gale's prequel, that was a bit of both, you did cross over the original Yandere with Nails, so hey, maybe Nails just keeps running at all these other Danger characters.
Oh yeah, that was also a fun one. That was another idea I had. I said, because it was around the time Danger had re-uploaded the first audio remastered, and then I said, you know what? And again, this is a lot of times when I come up with ideas, it's just that I'm just like, oh, this would be fun. So I said, what if the Yandere met Nails in prison, and it was before Nails had gotten out this most recent time, and then it just came from again, it just came from there, and I love the whole idea of sort of not danger, Yandere kind of creeping Gales out, because you never see Gales kind of being like, what's going on here, you know?
It was definitely good audio. But that's what I'm saying. Hey, maybe if it's canon now that the Yandere exists in the Nails and Gales verse, maybe somehow or another Alice and Deborah are related if they aren't already the same person. So cool, we're throwing Jekyll and Hyde in too. Let's go.
Yeah, just get them all in there. Let's just
every character, the ultimate crossover. Because it was definitely a funny one, as they all are.
Have you heard of the comic Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe?
Oh, dude, that's almost. I've never read it myself, but I've heard people saying like it's like one of the most craziest pieces of literature, and I've even heard people say they have to do it on screen.
That would be cool. Bit of a side tangent. Ryan Reynolds apparently pitched that to Marvel. He's like, "Can we just do Deadpool Kills the Fox universe?" So he's just killing off like the X-Men movie characters. There's no words on whether he said yes to that or not. So like that might be the closest we get to Deadpool kills off the Marvel universe or something. But I think it would be funny if you had Nails kills the Dangerverse. So she's just going from character to character, killing them off.
She and her trusty gun.
Oh man! In order to do that, I would probably need permission from every writer on this channel. I would need they would probably need to send me a list of here's what you can do, here's what you can't do. But I would.
Since when does Nails follow orders? Just let her go and have fun.
Yeah, Nails would just look at that list and be like, "The fuck."
I ain't an assassin. Why are you giving me a hit list? What am I getting paid for this?
Right. But yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be fun. You know, to do this. I would. You know what I would. You know, would be cool, like a Nails, like almost like a Fight Club kind of thing, where we take all of the ruthless characters of the Dangerverse and just put them all in like a big brawl for all. All the Yanderes, all the werewolves, everybody, just all in there.
Giant Hunger Games, yeah, that'd be funny. And Nails is the last one standing after the dust settles.
Oh man, that'd be beautiful.
Do you have you don't have to like give us any spoilers, obviously. Well, you can, like, not on the podcast. I mean, I would love spoilers personally.
So would I.
But do you have like any more videos or anything planned?
Oh well, I am writing episode 5.
Woo!
Yeah. I'm hoping to have it finished by the end of this week, and then send it over to Danger, and she'll put it up whenever she wants, or whenever she's free. I'm debating. Should I tell y'all what this is about? Should I?
You don't have to. I mean, then you can also tell us off the record too, and I'll delete it.
Well, I'll give like a you know what? I'll give the most vaguest description. Nails and Gale start working together. That's all get your mind out together, okay?
Okay.
Oh man.
I think I can figure out where you're going with that. It's like, I mean, she had to gain back her empire somehow, I guess.
But yeah, that's going to be the next one, and it's probably, I'm trying to make it like the longest audio. I'm trying to make it like at least maybe 15 minutes. We'll see what happens.
Oh wow, double-sized.
Oh yeah, because I feel like people are liking it, so I want to give them more. I want to give them like more content for each one. And as far as I haven't really thought about doing a parody one. The whole Yandere and Nails one, that kind of just came out of spite, or just out of nowhere, really. I think I can say this one because I don't know if it's gonna happen, so I'm just gonna throw it out there to see what the consensus is. I was thinking as we get closer to Halloween, maybe doing a Nails and Gale where they both switch bodies.
I want that now.
Same.
I need that in my life.
And every joke you're thinking of right now will probably be in it. It just writes itself.
It really does. That's why I think it's so incredible too. Is that I used to think, I'm like, where does he come up with this stuff? Like, what inspired him to do it? And you're like, it just came to me. I'm like, that's awesome.
Well, you know, a lot of my
Stuff writes itself.
yeah, a lot of my influences involve like watching old like sitcoms and everything. So like it comes from that like some of the most cliched sitcom plots, like oh they're stuck in an elevator, oh are they switching brains, oh there's a big dinner party and she's gonna miss it. You know, it's all that kind of stuff. You know.
Oh, we're gonna get the flashback episode. Just like
Well,
Nail-
technically, we already have with
Yeah.
episode 4. But what do you mean, like a flashback? Like,
No, I mean like Nails is like Gale. Remember when I locked you in the back of your trunk for your birthday? And she's like, yes. And it just cuts to like a clip of that.
That was so funny.
well, at that point, that's a clip show. I don't know if that's flashbacks per se.
Yeah, that I'm just like talking about like those shows that are like shit. We don't know what to do. We just need one episode that like requires
Filler
the
episode.
least amount of work. So let's just show clips to like past seasons and stuff like that.
right. That
Something
was
dumb
also
like
fun.
that.
Right, that was also a fun one because everybody was like, I remember one of the commenters was like, "Oh, well, what if we tie up Nail? See how she likes it." I'm like, "Calm down. Gail's fine. Okay, nothing happened to Gale.
Gale's fine.
Gale's gonna be fine. Nails will not Nails will not harm Gale in the slightest. She'll be fine. No matter what she does to her, she won't be killed."
That's a very low bar. Just imagine like Nails like trying to take Gale out for a night of fun, like literally drags her through hell, and Gale comes out like traumatized. And Nails like, nah, she's fine. She'll be fine. Just walk it off. You'll be fine.
Right, Gale's just got nightmares and shit.
Yeah, and Nails is like, she's fine. She's fine. That's why I freaking love the dynamic between these two. They're such great characters, dude. Like this is exactly why. Because I think it's a mix of the characters and the way like because you specialize in comedy, AUs, and parody. You can do and think about things that other series wouldn't. Like we were just saying, hey, what if we do a body switch episode? Like, it's absolutely insane. But with a series like this, it feels a bit more attainable. Whereas you could pose that question to basically any Dangerous series with more than one character. But yours is like the one with the highest odds of that actually happening. And that's what I love about the series is that it's so flexible that even if it makes no sense and has to be a complete AU, the fact that it could happen and it's so much fun to think about, and again with characters as wacky as these, it's like it's so awesome. I love this kind of stuff.
Right. It's like it can be like what I try to do is I want it to be as ridiculous as possible, but at the same time somehow, some way also making you care for the characters, which it sounds totally that sounds totally insane, but the whole that you can have such. Right. You can have some of the most outlandish, like almost borderline stupidity plots, but then just have it all like, oh, but there's a common bond between them. It's like it's like insane how that happens.
Well, let's be honest, with good characters, you can do just about anything, and these two are definitely a good couple. Romantically, platonically, whatever,
right,
dynamic-wise, it's
couples.
hilarious. I love watching their antics.
Friends,
So much.
let's emphasize this. Friends, people. Okay, let's not rush the
Just
conclusion.
gals being pals.
Not everything needs to have a not safe for work episode. Just
Hey, did you guys know that the reason I got Ike on this podcast is so Steven and I could bully him into making it canon, and also this is what he's going to have to do for us in return for being on this podcast? Like, because you received the prestigious honor of joining this trash podcast, you now are legally obligated to make this canon.
Whoa, like an NS, like a not safe for work Nails and Gale?
No, I'm
No,
teasing.
no.
I'm teasing. I mean, to me, I don't even care about the NSFW.
Yeah.
I just like over here. Like,
to me, there's two couples that should not get together. It's Nails and Gales because they should be sisters, best friends forever, and the Neko and the listener. Those are it. Everybody, go ahead, do romance stuff, not safe for work stuff. But those two series, they gotta stay platonic because it takes away the innocence of it all.
yes, because Nails is so innocent. She is basically a walking NSFW. Like, if she's not cussing, she's dropping some kind of lewd remark.
Oh, she has a chamber of just some of the nastiest jokes ever. You can't, don't put her up for an open mic night. Oh my god.
Oh, absolutely, I freaking would.
Well, yeah.
Oh my god, that'd be hysterical. And open mic night between the two.
Yeah, see that?
God.
That might be a future
The
idea.
contrast in humor. I feel like Gale would have all these like boring jokes because they'd try to be so normal, mundane, and Nails would just be awful.
Yeah, Nails is like
love...
Nails is like 90s Comedy Central. That's all she is, man. Early 2000s Comedy Central. That's Nails.
Oh, that'd be so funny. Yeah, but no, honestly, I don't. No matter what way this series goes in the end, I think just like getting to watch these two goof around will be more than enough for me. So.
Yeah, based off the description of 5, I'm really excited for your next one now.
Yeah, I want with 5 to give you a list, just a tiny bit more info. I wanted to go back to how episode 2 was, where it's just basically just them almost bantering, because every other episode is someone coming in, or like you got Robin coming in, or it's a flashback or whatever. This one goes back to like them just going back and forth with each other, and if the material I have right now stays, it's going to be like hilarious. I
know, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm disappointed this isn't a YouTube series, why it's Patreon only and why it's so short, but we'll see. Maybe that'll change now that Steven and I, we're hyped up enough, and Todd likes your works too, because I did briefly talk to him about you, so that's 3 fans right there, Ike.
Mm-hmm.
Do it for the 3 of us.
If I can be greedy for once in my life, I would like to see a follow-up to the Super Evil Odd Couple series, mainly just because I want to know what kind of powers Dangerous Diana has.
The name Dangerous Diana, by the way. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's her name, Dangerous Diana. It's only
yes.
It's only excuse for me to say her name is Double D. So.
Yes, I remember that. Like, it was like I feel like that's the only reason for that name, the alliteration joke. That made me laugh.
Right, but who knows? Maybe I can do a sequel one. If every other idea isn't coming to me at that moment, because it does kind of, even I'm like curious, like, does he find out she's evil, or is she like, or does she become so disgusted with his living habits she just like calls the whole plan off, like?
So basically the Yandere.
Oh yeah, just do it like the Yandere one, yeah.
I can't do this anymore. I quit.
Right.
Jail's better than that.
Just
no, then she gets arrested for being a supervillain, and she runs into the Yandere and Nails again. She's like, why the heck do I have such weird cellmates? What is wrong with this prison?
Yeah, just have each cellmate Nails have be like the weirdest character ever from
DangerousASMR.
Right.
The crazy Yandere on her left, and then the Dangerous Diana on the right, and she's just like, I gotta get out of here.
That'd be crazy.
That's the only reason Nail's trying to be a better person, so she doesn't have to deal with those crazy cellmates anymore. Right.
That's all it is. Like, I'd also would love to do like almost because I don't know about doing parodies, because like I said, parodies just happen spontaneously. I would like to do more stuff with just Dangerous playing herself. So maybe I would do something where maybe Nails talks to Danger almost like she did in the.
Yes.
I don't know where. Maybe Nails kidnaps Danger, and then Gale comes in like, "What are you doing? We have to leave." She's like, "No, she needs to write the right story." Right.
Yes, please.
All right. Before we end it, do you have any more questions, Boggle?
I think we covered everything, honestly.
Do you have anything else to say? Sorry, it scared me. My computer shut down.
All I'll say is, this podcast was real fun, and I want to shout out all the writers of the Dangerous universe. We appreciate you and everything. Danger is an amazing talent. She's real. It's more than ASMR. She's just like a total actress with this shit. So like to see her just do all these crazy ideas we come up with is just absolutely insane. So to her, I'd say thank you for everything, and for all the writers. Continue to send her some stuff, because we want this channel to go on for like years and years to come.
Yeah, and thank you so much, man, for coming on. Like, thank you, Boggle, because this is and thank you, Boggle, for getting him to come on. This was a lot of fun, man, and I'm glad we finally had like a writer on here.
Yeah, no problem, man. It was real fun.
All right. Well, like always, we do not know what we're doing next week, so we will say goodbye. Ike, do you want to close down the podcast for us because we don't know how to end these ever.
Just end it like somehow.
Yeah.
Shut your damn computer off and go outside, you bitch ass.
Oh wait, before you do that, you gotta stay safe when you go outside.
Yeah. Okay. Let me rephrase that. Let me redo that. Turn off your computer, wear a mask, and get your bitch ass outside. Damn it.
Don't catch the Cororo.
No. Hashtag no Cororo.
Hashtag no Cororo.
All right, everybody. You have a good rest of your day.